Today, we are looking at a vehicle that you can't even buy. The order books are closed for 2022, yet this is a vehicle so critical, so monumentally important, that we're gonna do a review anyways. Plus, Ford's not really known for making huge changes from one model year to the next, and so if you find yourself shopping for a truck like this in the future, well, this video will always be there for you. Obviously, I'm talking about the 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning. This is the evolution of the F-150, and unlike its competitors, this one starts at just under $42,000. Now's the time when we ask that if you haven't already, please remember to subscribe to the CarGurus YouTube channel, where we publish 2 new videos every single week. And if you have a car to sell, well, consider selling it 100% online with CarGurus. We can source the top dollar offer from our network of thousands of dealerships. If you like that offer, just have your car picked up and we'll get you paid. Considering this might very well be the most significant, most important vehicle to debut in 30 years or so, the F-150 Lightning looks astonishingly normal. I mean, it's just an F-150, they're everywhere. Ford sells the F-150 Lightning in 4 trim levels: Pro, XLT, Lariat, and Platinum. And mercifully, there's 1 cab style, 1 bed length. Seriously, compare that with a normal F-150 where there are so many combinations, you'll have choice paralysis before you even go to the dealership. Unlike with Apple, the Ford Lightning Pro is the base model. Think of it as the electric work truck, and that's the one that starts in the low 40s. We are testing a Lightning Lariat, and this starts at $67,474, so it's a lot more expensive. And that price can climb rapidly, as we'll demonstrate later in the video. Now, compare this to a regular Ford F-150, and it actually looks really similar. However, there are a few differences, and if you know what to look for, you'll realize that they're not actually all that subtle. Most notable is this big bar headlight across the front. There's also not a real grille where a gas F-150's grille would be. And then we have this stack of 3 lights on either side of the faux grille. I'm sure you've seen this by now. The whole front end of the Lightning, it lifts open via this powered frunk gate, if you will, mechanism. It does take a little bit of time, but once it's open, it reveals a huge front trunk with a drainable, watertight bin underneath. Maybe later in the video, we'll see if I can fit in there at the end of the video. You have to watch all the way until the end. Can't skip ahead, I'll know. At the back, there are lightning badges on the rear flanks, but otherwise it's pretty standard F-150 styling. Pro and XLT trims, they get Ford's famous blue oval right here in the center, and the F-150 name stamped below it. But our Lariat trim and the Platinum trim, they get this incredible tail light bar that spans the whole width of the rear end. And that, of course, relegates the blue oval to this corner. So what makes the F-150 Lightning special isn't really its looks. No, it's what's inside that counts. Not inside. It's what's underneath, down there. Specifically, the Lightning employs dual motors, 1 on each axle, and they provide an insane 775 pound-feet of torque. With the standard range battery, the F-150 Lightning should do 230 miles of range on a full charge, and that's actually pretty respectable when you consider just how big this vehicle is. The only trouble is that if you're a shopper who's dealing with range anxiety, you probably don't give 2 nickels about respectable, especially when the Rivian R1T and the GMC Hummer EV, the 2 current competitors to the F-150 Lightning, they both do 300 miles. But, big but here, both the Rivian and the GMC employ bigger batteries, more motors, and cost multiples of the Lightning Pro. If we're gonna try and play apples to apples, well then we have to look at our Lightning Lariat, because this has the extended range battery. Now, most importantly, that adds 90 miles of range, bringing the total up to 320. but it also increases the horsepower from 426 to 563, meaning it is fast. It is really fast. I mean, it's too fast. Woo! So that begs the question. If you're in the market for an EV, are you going for the big, fast, big battery, big range model? Or would you rather save the money and just live with a 230-mile range? I mean, it's still fast. Anyways, let us know in the comments section below. I'm gonna stay away from that accelerator. When you're moving, the battery's low center of gravity also helps the Lightning feel a little less roly-poly, but don't plan on ripping this through a slalom course. At well over 3 tons and with as much torque as we have, I bet this thing can absolutely eviscerate a set of tires. And then, now here's something interesting. The Lightning actually uses an independent rear suspension rather than the leaf spring suspension you find on almost every other full-size pickup truck. Now that was done for packaging reasons. As it turns out, in order to accommodate that big battery, the Lightning did have to be re-engineered a little bit, even if it doesn't look any different from other F-150s from the outside. The standard range battery measures 98 kilowatt hours, while the extended range one is 131 kilowatt hours. That is pretty big. Now you can charge the Lightning on a 110 volt or 220 volt home outlet, although doing it on just a standard 110 volt outlet will literally take a week. Better yet, find a DC fast charger where you can charge the Lightning from 15 to 80% in less than 45 minutes, if all goes according to plan, and you can find a fast charger that is outputting a steady 150 kilowatts. One of the highlights of this truck when it launched was its ability to act as a backup generator, powering the typical household for 3 days. But even if you don't need to power your whole house, the Lightning's available 9.6 kilowatt hour onboard power supply is super useful, especially if you're, say, on a job site and you need somewhere to plug in your tools. Something to take with a grain of salt when considering an EV truck is towing and hauling numbers. The Lightning maxes out at 10,000 pounds of trailer and 2,000 pounds in the bed. But if you get anywhere close to those figures, you have to assume that the truck's driving range is going to plummet. So luckily, Ford has included a nifty little feature to help you manage that. Onboard scales let you know just how much weight you've got in the bed, and they adjust the remaining driving range estimate as the payload gets heavier. The F-150 is not just a work truck though. These are now family vehicles, and they work great for that. There's more passenger space in this thing than there is in most two-row crossovers. Interior materials are good. There's plastic in here, but it's a truck, and considering it's a truck, there's an awful lot of nice touch points too. Not to mention, the ergonomics are just about perfect. Ford has had 75 years to perfect the F-Series, and by 2022, they've done just about that. We have a massive panoramic sunroof. The rear seat flips up to reveal extra storage. There's a lot of storage in the Lightning. And there are power outlets everywhere. There's one right here, one of these in the back seat. There's 4 in the frunk and 5 in the bed, including a 240 volt outlet. And now it has been really hot this week, so I appreciate that the air conditioning blows super cold and it cools down the big cabin very, very quickly. I also appreciate that Ford sent us a truck with ventilated seats, so thank you, Ford. And now there's one final little feature. I love this. It's not new to the Lightning, but you can press this button to fold down the shifter, and then you can fold forward the top of the center console to create this work surface. I wrote this portion of the review on my laptop on this surface, and now I'm delivering it to you, and I think that's what meta means. Is that meta? I think it's meta. In terms of technology, all F-150 Lightnings get at least a 12-inch display running Sync 4 and 3 years of navigation. The Lariat and Platinum, though, they get a 15-inch portrait-oriented one, like this. It's similar to the system we tested in the Mustang Mach-E. Pro models make do with an AM/FM radio, but other trims do get Sirius XM satellite radio. And if you get a Lariat trim, then you get an 8-speaker B&O stereo, which goes up to 15 speakers if you get the Platinum trim. We have a wireless charging pad down here. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard on all trims, and I actually found a set of games on here. Now, normally I would say that this is just a stupid gimmick, but it kind of makes sense in an EV. I mean, if I'm sitting there waiting for the truck to finish charging, you know, outside Whole Foods, maybe I'll kill the time playing a little Sudoku. Start. Oh, I have a game in progress. This isn't my game. I wonder how they're doing. Oh, this is a mess. Oh, God. The Lightning delivers on the safety front, too. All Lightnings get some level of Ford's Copilot 360 advanced driver assistance systems. Automatic emergency braking, lane keeping assist, blind spot warning with rear cross traffic alert, it's all standard. You can add a 360-degree camera, Ford's Pro Trailer Backup Assist, trailer reverse guidance, and a forward sensing system on the Pro trim. The XLT adds the 360 camera as standard and offers a few other options like adaptive cruise control, intersection assist, and a pair of rain-sensing wipers. You can add Ford's BlueCruise technology at the Lariat level. We have it here. It uses a driver-facing camera to make sure you're paying attention, and then it uses the forward-facing cameras and sensors around the truck to make sure that the vehicle stays in its lane and that its speed stays where you want it. But other than that, you can take your hands off the wheel and just cruise, and it works really, really well. I did it for maybe 10 minutes on the highway, just hands off the wheel, and it ran into almost no issues at all. At one point when the lane markers got a little iffy, it started to ping pong a little bit, but then I just put my hands back on the wheel, I straightened things out, the truck picked up the lane markers, and it was back set on the right course. No more ping ponging. It works better than the lane keeping assist systems on a lot of cars I've tested, and I am really, really impressed with it. If 230 miles of range works for you, well then the F-150 Lightning is, without a doubt, the best value on the EV pickup truck market. It's not even close. It's tens of thousands of dollars, not close. But if you need 320 miles of range, well then it is gonna cost you a little bit more, or a bit more. Our Lariat trim has the extended range package, but it costs an extra $10,000 to get that package. Now you can get it on the less expensive XLT trim, but then the $10,000 has to be paired with an additional $9,500 equipment package. And that means that the cheapest MSRP for an extended range Lightning is $74,269, including the $1,795 destination fee. And our test truck, well, it rang in at just over 80 grand. That's a lot. But let's put it into context, because the Rivian R1T, a smaller pickup truck, it starts at $67,000. And that price goes up just as quickly as this one. And then there's the GMC Hummer EV, which is effectively a 6-figure pickup truck, unless you're willing to wait until the spring of 2024 when the base model comes out, and the base model's only supposed to have 250 miles of range. So no, the Ford F-150 Lightning with everything you ever dreamed of is not a $40,000 pickup truck. You can file that away in the too good to be true folder. But the reality, the fact that this incredible machine costs 75 grand, well, that's good enough for me, because this truck is good enough to revolutionize the entire industry. Thank you so much for watching. You can read our full written review of the F-150 Lightning over at CarGurus.com. And we want to hear from you, so let us know how you would spec an F-150, or if you'd rather pony up for one of its competitors, down in the comments section below. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.